On today's episode, for this new hole we found, is it an innie or an outie?
They drew first blood.
All right, everybody. Today we're going to talk about us and them. So join me on the SCS. That's not a knife. And let's dive on in.
Launch initiated.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Dive On In. And it's been a little bit slow. They've not had a lot of content to talk about, a lot of news to talk about. The big community manager, Twinbeard, has been sick with food poisoning. It seems like Johan has been keeping his head down after making a position change. Shams, the new CEO, has been getting a feel for things. There's just not been a whole lot of news as they've been working on the new big patch. Finally, today, we got a lot of news. We've got a lot of content information in the pipe. So we're going to cover that today along with the events that have occurred over the past couple of weeks. So let's get started. And we're going to begin by talking about the new mech that was added to the game a couple of weeks ago. After we emancipated Virillia 5, we got the Emancipator mech. This is a dual autocannon bright yellow mech that is pretty decent against both factions, but it is, a mech in the game of all time. It's not something I'm going to be using regularly. You can make some kind of flavor loadouts with that, and there is some glitches you can perform, at least on PC, to get two mechs in your loadout. Now, the devs have said they purposely made it to where you can't bring two mechs, or they attempted to make it that way because of resource allocation issues in the game. That if too many players do that, too many players deploy too many mechs, it can cause performance issues and cause the game to crash. That's how they explained it. And they essentially asked players to try to avoid doing that. I don't think many players are adhering to that. But at the same time, I don't think a lot of players are calling out, 8 mechs at a time in a coordinated fashion. So if you're just bringing, both mechs, the old one and the new one, calling them out one at a time, I don't think there's going to be much of a problem with that. So it just fires a whole bunch of autocannon shots. You can take down pretty much any enemy in the game with those shots. It's just going to take varying amounts of time. It is pretty much just as squishy as the other mech, and it does have some trouble aiming down. It has trouble aiming at things close to you. Maybe they're going to address that, and we'll talk about some of the changes that they're going to be making to the game here a little later. We don't have a whole lot of detail, but they're going to be making a lot of changes and very soon. So, after that, take a look at the next item here, which is going to be Meridia and what has occurred over there. So, let me load that up for us here. So, on Meridia, that is where the super colony had begun to form after we deployed the TCS, pest control system that put all the stuff in the air. It started mutating the bugs and started forming a super colony. And then we were asked to go and fight that super colony. And eventually, we were last week asked to go and deploy dark matter on there. And it was just a crazy mission like nothing we've ever had before. And I kind of threw myself at this solo. I wanted to see if this could be done solo. And it was very difficult. I got close a couple times, wasn't really doing it right. I watched some other people do it. you really had to change up your gameplay. And even in group play, it was very difficult, especially if you were trying it on Helldiver 9. You ended up having to bring a lot of EMS strikes, stun grenades, supply backpacks to replenish those stun grenades because the bugs would spawn right on top of the drill. And that was a bug that they patched out. Even so, it'd still get swarmed by the bugs. So you pretty much had to just spam stuns and EMS to keep those bugs locked down. Not even really worrying about killing them, just keeping them occupied while the drill finished up 3 times in a row, go around the map, and then that's completed. Shrieker spawn, kind of that end scene from where you leave Kerrigan on the planet in StarCraft 2, and the flying Zerg spawn and fill the skies. It's just like that, and they'll do that until extract, and you get out of there. Very interesting, hectic, difficult mission. Pretty fun though. Though we did have to do it for quite a while and it got a little bit boring after that. So it has felt like kind of a content drought in that regard. But as you'll see on the screen, we're just kind of playing the video as I talk here over and over again. We did get kind of a cool cutscene right when the planet went out, and I was actually on the game when that uh, major order completed. You get teleported off the Meridian planet over to Super Earth, but you can teleport right back, and I think you can even teleport there right now in the game. And you can go have a look at the black hole in person, and you can definitely tell it looks kind of like a portal, like something's going to happen with that. Not yet. They're making us wait. They're going to cook on that for a bit. So who knows when that's going to come to fruition. We got things in the pipe like the Warbond next week. It might sit there as a black hole for a little while. So we'll have to see. All right. After that, we were told by the new CEO, and kind of shown a bit here too, that um, Johan had given a kind of lunch and learn meeting to the devs about how to interact with the community, with those who have been criticizing the game. You can see there's some videos up from some big content creators, kind of trying to dictate what they should do with the game, how to address that feedback, how to digest it, uh, whether or not they should take it as constructive or dismiss it. And they just kind of had a meeting on how to deal with that type of feedback. And James kind of lays that out here on Twitter. I'll probably leave a link in the description here if you want to go check out everything he has to say about that. But I thought it was interesting. If you notice, I haven't seen a kind of up to date picture of Johan for a while, but he's got this kind of asymmetrical beard coloration where he's like all gray on one side. He's starting to look like an X-Men villain or something. It's kind of funny. I bet all that stress is getting to him. It must be like the side he sleeps on or something like that. Look at all this the glitter on his little Razer laptop stand. Interesting. It's almost look like a Florida retreat where these game devs work. It's kind of silly. All right. So beyond that, the next Warbond. Let's talk about that. Let me get this all pulled up here because this is very interesting. So the Helldivers 2 enlist the Viper Commandos Warbond on June 13th. And we have butterflies. You see, one cool thing about this new Warbond is it looks like it's going to be coming with a new map. With these, it almost looks like Kashyyyk from Star Wars, where the Wookiees are from, with these big swamp-like trees and tall grass, green shrubbery, and it looks like there's some water and a lot of people were joking that it looks kind of like Metal Gear Solid 3, and I would agree with that. But we're getting a number of things in this, and I'd like to go over the trailer with you now. So let's take a look at that trailer, and we'll be right back to go over the blog post. So let's have a look at that now. This map, this looks totally commando, but I tried to show it looks like let's take a look. Let's step this back just a little bit before it gets too far in because these trailers are really short and they do a lot very quickly. What I wanted to see is that resupply. Yes. So it's going over the pattern. So here's the Pelican 1 pattern. It's got, I guess the helipod drops on the resupply too. So that is another place you'll see it is on the resupply and the mech. It does have, see it, even the resupply pop-ups. These poses are awesome. And they said the skin tone is going to change on this. So you'll have different racial skin tones and things like that. Some people have mentioned it looked like from the shots that the tattoos were changing with these armors. And then some other people had speculated, well, maybe the tattoos aren't actually tied to the armors. Maybe that's a new additional hidden customization that we're getting. I'm not sure. I'm going to guess it's probably just tied to the armors. I do like that flex. Here's that new AR, the carbine. They have a lot of typos in their in their content and stuff. I believe on the blog or in the little splash image, they called it a carabine instead of a carbine. And a carabine, I believe, is a climbing tool. So somebody must have had autocorrect or something. More butterflies on this new map. Capes look good. I really like the sleeveless look. A lot of people were complaining that they don't like it. I think it's cool. More choice is always nice, especially when it comes to armors. We don't have a lot of unique looks. And that gun, look at that gun belt on there. That looks awesome as well. Here's that shotgun you see. It's round reload. One shot in the warrior there. Got the knife out. Definitely looks like a grenade throw, replacing the grenade. Taking out a warrior with one shot to the head. Again, these videos are misleading though. If you remember the purifier in this new emote. So we've got that new. This is going to be very popular. I think this is going to be the new hug. I've been asking for an escalation of the hug. We just need. We've got the bro fist. You know, this is that meme. This is the over the top meme. I don't really remember that's from, but I know over the top. It reminds me of that movie with Stallone, that arm wrestling movie. This is for sure a recreation of that meme. We've got the hug. We've got the over the top bro fist. We need the kiss, Arrowhead. We need to bring it in for the kiss. Come on, we need to escalate this broship. And then June 13th, we get that's it for the trailer. All right, so that's what we got from the trailer. In the blog post, this copy is always kind of interesting to me. I'm really looks like Baskinator is one who writes this particular blog post. I don't know if she's done the ones in the past, but the copy is kind of interesting. So that's Baskinator on the Discord, Catherine Baskin. She writes this particular post at least. They're changing the way they're doing war bonds. They're going to be releasing less content in the war bonds. They're going to take more time to push them out, so it may not be once a month anymore. They're not committing to a time frame on that yet, and I'm interested to know. So in the past, they've been about $10 each. With less content, does that mean less money? Are they going to be $5? Are they going to be $8? I don't know. I don't think there's an answer to that here yet. So we're gonna see. We're gonna be getting less weapons, less armor. We are getting skins, which we haven't seen before. Um, we'll have to see. So I'm sure we'll have the answer to that at least by next Thursday when the Warbond comes out, assuming there's no delays. But one thing that I mentioned on Twitter, and I did get a response. Well, I got a like from Shams on this feedback was my expectations, at least for the new throwing knife and the secondary shotgun here. I would really like to see this shotgun because I don't know what other place it's going to have if it doesn't have this type of breakpoint. But I would really love to see this triple shot shotgun be able to blow the ass off of a charger if you use the secondary fire where it unloads all three shots. If you can dodge a charger, run up, get point blank on its rear end, and do the triple shot, unload the whole mag in a single shot and hit it with every pellet, I feel like you should be able to knock the ass off the whole thing. So to me, that would be a good break point because we can see in the videos and stuff that it is kind of a round reload. You're going to be putting shell, shell, shell back into it. So it's a long reload. We have seen in the videos, and some of these videos we've seen in the past for the Warbonds have been misleading as far as what the weapons can do, such as the Purifier being able to one shot Striders. That did not end up being the case. So in the trailer we watched earlier, we saw this secondary shotgun one-shotting warriors, one-shotting, I believe a brood commander was one shot with a single shot from this secondary. So if that's the case, that's good, but I don't know if that's gonna make it worth bringing. You know, you got three shots before you're gonna reload. Are you really gonna be just saving this to take out brood commanders and warriors three shots at a time before a reload? I'm not. I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to be bringing it for that. So I will bring it if it will let me do an unload shot on a charger rear end and take it down. I would use it for that. To the same point, the throwing knife, it's a utility item. It appears to be replacing the grenade, and that is a utility slot. The grenade slot does a lot, especially when we're talking about impacts, incendiaries, and stun grenades, especially stun grenades. So if you're foregoing those items for a throwing knife, that throwing knife better do something special. And the special thing I was thinking that the throwing knife could do would be to one shot a Hulk if you can hit it in the eye with the throwing knife. That's a bit of a novelty use case because you're not going to be able to back that up with your own stun grenade or anything like that. So you're going to have to really make a clutch play to make that happen. But if you could one shot a Hulk with a throwing knife to the eye, that might make it cool, especially as like a content creator. You can make some cool videos and things like that. Um, but it's got to be able to do something like that other than just take out lights with maybe, I mean, even if they give you 20 throwing knives or something like that, you're not going to be wanting to run around and use this as some kind of primary or secondary type weapon. It's got to do something special. So I'm very curious what that throwing knife's going to be able to do. Beyond that, the experimental infusion booster sounds interesting, but it already feels like to me when you take a stem, you're already getting damage mitigation through the opposing healing. So the fact that you're getting move speed and some form of damage mitigation, it already feels like we're getting the damage mitigation. So that move speed, I better be moving like Sonic the Hedgehog for me to be able to want to bring that booster. Then it seems like they're just kind of padding out the list here. If you notice, they put 300 super credits on here, and we've always gotten super credits on the Warbond, so it just seems like they had a hole they needed to fill to make this look nice. And then we're also getting a title, the Viper Commando title. I wonder if that's going to be where that's going to fall. Are they going to? Does that mean they're going to be increasing the level cap? Are we going to be purchasing that title with medals? How are we getting that title? Because that's not something we've ever gotten before. Are we just going to be getting it from buying the Warbond? That could be the case as well. The interesting delivery on that as well. The armors do look nice. I do like both the armors. Although I wish the PH 232, the Twig Snapper, was not a heavy. Just because heavy is a little too downside-ish for me, a little too sluggish, slow, with not enough mitigation behind it for me to really use. But I love the look of it. I do like the blue visor helmet. That's nice. And the Predator armor looks awesome, especially the helmet. And I think you can swap that helmet around for a lot of things. There's a lot of light armor that I think that beret helmet is going to look great with. The capes look great as well. The skins, very interesting though. The only one I'm really going to end up using probably is the Pelican. The helipod. When are you ever going to see the helipod skin? Mm. And then the mech skin, I really am probably not going to use mechs unless they buff them or make some kind of interesting mission type that really drives you into a mech. So I'm not sure about that. But for now, let's see what else we have. Beyond that, there's one last thing I wanted to cover, and that is a last minute post here on Friday, the 7th, by Twinbeard, giving us a little sneak preview. They have been downplaying the hell out of this new patch, and he finally came out and said something very interesting and kind of unleashed the floodgates. So he's been sick, he's had food poisoning, he's not had a lot to say because of that. And Baskinator's not really chimed in. Pillisted has not said a word on Discord or Twitter for weeks now, which could be good. He's probably working. He's probably getting a lot of work done. We saw him. He did the meeting that Shams was talking about. So he's probably getting a lot of good work done. And this is another or more evidence of that. So Twinbeard says, so about the patch, here's a little preview. Patrols and spawn rate have been reverted. Supply lines are visible as well as attack origins. I don't know what attack origins are, but the supply lines will be interesting, showing us the path to our targets as far as the planets, things like that. That'll be interesting. And they also he mentioned in some subsequent messaging that is just the beginning of map visibility and interactivity, and there will be more of that to come. That sounds amazing. And he says invite only lobbies, super samples at level 6 instead of level 7, and getting rid of the unlimited grenade glitch. All great. Super samples, you get capped on those so quick. If you play the game for more than 50 hours, you're going to have so many. Those are never the issue. So who cares when you get them? I'm not some gatekeeping person who thinks, oh, anybody below who plays less than 7 shouldn't be able to get them. Now, if you play the game at all, you're going to have so many of those. It's really commons and rares that are the real rare samples. And then he says more than 100 changes and fixes in this new patch. And they said, oh, no, this isn't going to be the mother of all patches in the last couple of weeks. But yeah, it is going to be. This patch note read is going to be insane next week. So we're probably going to see a total shakeup of the meta. We're going to probably see a huge resurgence of players, at least temporarily, especially if they add things like if they bring in the Illuminate, if they bring in these new jungle maps at the same time, if they just flood us with content all at once, you might see a huge spike way back up to like 150, 200K concurrent players, especially if it's all just huge buffs everywhere. So I'm going to be very positive about what's to come with this. I think it's going to be very good. So I think, guys, that's all I've got for you now. Hopefully we have more and more news. It's looking up. It looks like we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about over the next week or two. So hopefully I have a higher frequency of episodes and we can go over more stuff like that. If you're still with me, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Please drop a like and subscribe. We're almost to some breakpoints on the subscribers. So if you do enjoy my content, click those buttons. If you're listening to the audio podcast, please follow me as well. And I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.